Well, here we are yet again, and I'm talking mainly here to subscribers. And so I wanted to just give you some information before we start. This is information that we have actually written to you, but many people don't get those emails or don't take them seriously or don't read them, and we know that. So I have some things I want to tell you about this program. We're streaming. Obviously, we're streaming, and we're streaming live. This is a bit different than watching YouTube, and the demands on the internet and even your computer are just a little stronger when we live stream. But that's what it's all about, in order we can come to you at a certain time and have the excitement of a live stream. Now, what I want to tell you is that you may not be using the best browser. Did you read that? The best browsers we have found are Chrome and Firefox in order to stream better. Did you know that by dismissing many tabs you might have there, that it works better? Did you know about refreshing in case it freezes? Well, there's something I want to tell you that's even beyond that. There's frustration sometimes when the streaming doesn't work well. Interesting. We can stream to thousands of people at once, and the people in a foreign country will get it perfectly, and the guy next door will freeze and freeze and freeze. So our internets are all different. They really, truly are. So if you have problems, and the problems are freezing, sound goes away, stopping and starting, and all of that, please listen to me. Don't be frustrated. I have an answer for that. Turn off your device. Just turn it off. I don't want frustration here. It's just not worth it. Here's why. Just wait. Because 1 hour immediately after we finish this program is a perfect replay. The replay is a recording we're taking right here in the studio, and it'll be perfect, and it's going to play much different than the live stream. Easy. 1 hour immediately after we finish this program, you're going to get it. So for the subscribers, the replay link has already been sent to you, and it's available. Don't be frustrated. Turn off the device and see the replay. Just wait 1 hour after the program finishes. The program. We have it so that it's kind of formalized. We like to do the same kind of things so you can expect the same kind of things. And what we've been finding is we talk a little bit about some of the experiences we've had on the road with the tours we've had, and all Kryon tours, of course. We're going to do a little bit of that. Then we have the channel for the day. And then we go into our interview for our guest of the week, and then finally, the Circle of 12. There'll also be a short break before the Circle of 12. Now, we have so many things that we could talk about that might or might not be interesting to you. I hope they are, because we've gone places that most people will never go. For instance, have you been up inside the chamber in the large pyramid in Egypt? What's that pyramid called?
It's the Great Pyramid.
Great Pyramid?
And you go into the King's Chamber. Yeah.
We've channeled in there maybe 6 times.
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly, but we have some stories about that.
And I bet you anything, people out there right now listening also have stories, because so many light workers are so attracted to go to Egypt. It's just the most fascinating ancient culture that we have.
We have actually several stories in Egypt, and some of them are funny, but some of them are very profound, and we've had the experiences because we've channeled in all these places.
Yeah.
And then so many other places around the planet that we've gone to, both sacred and touring. You know, when you go to the south of France in Qatar country,
yes.
very, very powerful.
Beautiful.
We're going to go back there. We're going to go back to Egypt and all. But we want to tell you a little bit about one experience we had in a place called Rapa Nui. Now, if you know what Rapa Nui is, you know the other name for it, and it's called Easter Island. It's 5 hours by airplane right off of the coast of Chile. It's almost like the same distance kind of that Hawaii would be off the coast of west coast of America. So it's owned by Chile, but they have given it to the indigenous there, who are called Rapa Nui.
Rapa Nui, exactly. And it's the most isolated island on the planet.
Yes.
In the middle of the Pacific. And it's just, unlike Hawaii, it's just one island.
One island.
And it's actually surrounded, there's 3 kind of dormant volcanoes around this island. And the energy there, as soon as you land on the plane, it is really profound energy. And the reason is because it's one of the places Kryon described the Lemurians going from Lemuria, discovering Rapa Nui, and what they brought was the Lemurian consciousness, which has been growing on that island without any other interruptions or filters until it was discovered and named Easter Island.
And those channels were given long before we ever went there, and that's part of the story. For those of you who still don't know what we're talking about, Easter Island is that they have those wild, funny stone statues that you see everywhere. It's in museums, in cartoons, whatever. And so if I showed you that particular statue, you'd go, oh, that's right.
Which is actually called a Moai.
A Moai.
Yes.
But we call it a more technical Easter Island statue.
That's
okay,
right.
Question for the day. Why do they call it Easter Island?
Well, it was discovered by the Spanish during Easter.
That's right. Actually, I think it might have been Easter Day for them.
Might have, yeah.
And they named it Easter Island, and it stuck. So don't say Easter Island to a Rapa Nui.
Yeah, and actually it was called Isla de Pascua, which is Easter Island in Spanish, but that's our translation for it.
So we arrived there at night. That, I think, is the protocol, because the planes from Santiago go only certain times. So I think we arrived at night. I think both times, I may be wrong, but the first time I remember vividly, we were at night, we were tired, and we were serenaded by some Rapa Nui, which, by the way, the people who serenaded us stayed with us, and one of them was the shaman.
Yes.
We didn't realize that at the time. We just figured, they were really great musicians, and they were greeting us.
And actually, I thought that was how everyone was greeted.
Yeah.
And I had no idea that it was arranged specially for the Kryon group, and it was part of the shamanic experiences that began to unfold for us.
We learned a lot about the protocol. We learned a lot about the people and all that. As you always would. The first time you go, you everything is open. Second time we went, we were ready, and I think the second time we actually had a more profound time, because we kind of knew the ropes and could show people around. It was interesting. The second time also had changed. Because the Rapa Nui had charge of the ticket booths, and had started improving things and figured out the
And that's all good signs of increased tourism and taking ownership of their culture and wanting to manage it. So we'll see how it unfolds in future years.
And on Easter Island, the Rapa Nui are the only ones allowed to own the land there. So the Chilean government has tried to honor them, much like in Australia, what they've done at Uluru with Aborigines.
Yeah, very similar.
Okay, the stories. Here we go. We land, we go to sleep, and the next morning we go to what is often called in your country, welcome to country. That is a term, by the way, I've used that is not necessarily used all over the planet.
Yes.
And it's just a time for the indigenous to say hello, and also for them to say, okay, here's what we are, here's what we believe, and this is how we started. Instead of just running out as tourists and looking at the statues and going to places, everyone in our tour and our group, we had to think about 75 or so at that point. Yeah. And we sat in this little hut, and we had a little stage. Yeah. And the first thing we do is to put on the indigenous. And the one who was in charge was named Pau.
Yeah, Pau Hitorangi, and he was introduced to us from our travel agency contact, Danielle, and we had no idea about what Pau knew, his knowledge, whether he knew or understood anything about Kryon, but we trusted the synchronicity that led us there.
We didn't know him, now we do.
Yeah.
In fact, I would consider him a friend, and I'm very honored and respected by this. He's a botanist, I think. Is that correct?
Yeah, ethnobotany is what he does.
Yeah.
He learned a lot of his knowledge from his plants from his grandmother. And even that just touched my heart when he starts talking about the connection with his grandmother and learning all about the plants and the healing properties of them from his grandma.
We had no idea at all about him, and we're listening to him. And the first thing he does is first of all, he's speaking Spanish, and so we have interpreters, and so I'm hearing, of course, the English part. And he brings out this fertility statue.
Yes.
And it's quite provocative. It's about this high, and he brings it out for everybody to look at, and he says, "This is our fertility statue because we came from the Pleiadians." I about dropped over.
Yeah.
Honestly, I did not expect that. I'm even getting right now, because this is what Kryon has taught.
Yes.
Where we came from, what Lemuria was all about, and the whole thing, and that was his opening statement. You had some things happening as well, too, I know.
I think everything that he said was like we were sitting down and having a living story present information that Kryon had been giving about our ancestors of the Lemurians and the sinking island of Lemuria, and taking into their canoes and going out and finding other places. And Pau just sat there and point after point gave us his story of Rapa Nui, almost identical to Kryon's story, and we all had chicken skin when that was happening.
We did. They took us to a place where there are 7 Moai statues, and they call them the 7 Voyagers, and they're all facing the ocean, and they're the only ones that face the ocean. But they don't just face the ocean; they face Hawaii, and that is where he gave us the story. These are the ancestors. This is where we came from, and that is exactly what Kryon says. We got that from a shaman in East Ireland. There was somebody we brought too, and I think you have something to say.
Yes, indeed. So we first went there in 2014, and we had a Hawaiian kahuna with us. It was Kahuna Kaleiliahi. And when Kalei and Pau saw each other, I mean, we could feel the electricity that was happening between them in a very deep and honoring way. And we went back in 2018, and this is where Kalei was not well and she was not able to travel, but she knew we were going there, and she asked me to please take one of her, she's an incredible artist, she asked for us to take a painting or an artwork that she had done as a gift for Pau. And when I presented it to Pau and said that she was not well and not able to attend, I just left it at that. When we then had him come on stage, he actually went on stage and held up the painting, and this is what he told the audience. He said, "Today I received a gift from Kahuna Kalei, and I want to just share something with you. For many, many years, he had been having a dream. And in his dream, he was a bird. And he would fly across the ocean and go and visit Hawaii. Now, he's never physically been there, but in his dreams, he said he was a bird. He would fly across the ocean, visit Hawaii, and he would always see a woman's face. That was his dream. And there he stood saying that 4 years earlier, in 2014, when Kahuna Kalei came, it was the face. I'm getting chills. It was the face of the woman in his dreams. Us to talk to ourselves, to heal and be healthy. Well, then I guess she did too. This passing of her from our earth leaves me perplexed and dismayed, because if it didn't work for her, how can it work for me? Lee, that's a very difficult question to answer.
That's what I said. We've chosen the hard ones. So this is where I get, I don't put on my teaching hat. I don't. I'm going to put on my family hat. Because that question, dear, that you just asked is the same one we ask. I know. We didn't just ask it. We pondered it. She had, as a personal friend of ours, access to multiple healing modalities, in addition to what she knew as a sacred kahuna, as a healer herself. She knew it all what to do. She was one who talked to herself regularly. We did ceremony in groups. We did things where we dropped her ancestry DNA issues. And this is personal, but we actually took her to places with other healing modalities we thought might help her with her cancer, and it didn't help. There were, I would say, this was a giveaway too, to what I'm going to say next. There were, I would say, multiple remissions. So she would go someplace, and one in particular, literally, we thought we had it, because the cancer was leaving her body and there were signs of it, and we said, we were congratulating her and she'd done it, and it came right back. Let me go to something else personal. I think it was in 2012, and Monica, you can tell me if I got the dates wrong, but when we lost Sid Wolf.
2013.
Okay. And this is Dr. Wolf, team member, husband. A beautiful, active healer. He was my mentor in many ways. He actually taught me so much about talking to your body and what can happen, and he healed me. And we lost him. We lost him way, way too early. Mm-hmm. And this also frustrated me. And we pondered this too, and we said, oh, why? Because the process is the process, and this is Healing Wednesdays. This is what we teach. Mm-hmm. So the question is the same question. How is it that some, no matter what they do, and especially if they follow the protocol that we show and teach and know works, and there's so many people who have had such wonderful remissions and such wonderful healings of anxiety and fear and disease, and we've seen it for years, not just Healing Wednesdays, but this is who we are, and yet we lost them.
Yeah.
Here's what Kryon has told us, and it's a difficult one. He says, sometimes, especially when you're talking about certain kinds of individuals who have so much to give to the planet, sometimes they are needed more in the next lifetime than this one. And they have work to do. So they leave early so that they can come back. And by the time you come back, they will be your mentors. They will be teaching you. I would like to tell you something, and I didn't even think about this. That includes some children, because we've had these same questions about the kids. Just doesn't make sense. And so all of these things are beyond our comprehension of our hearts, our minds, our teaching abilities. Sometimes these things have to work for a greater good, a greater plan. And Kryon says, be peaceful when you see these kinds of things. They're not a mistake.
I think that's absolutely true. And there's two things for me that come up with this question. One is the process that Kryon keeps talking about, where our bodies are designed to live for hundreds of years. Mm-hmm. And so the idea of us talking to ourselves is a relationship we establish, communication with the cells of our body, which has intelligence, and we're designed to live for hundreds of years. So that's one issue. And then the other thing, Lee, is what you talked about, where we don't have a clear view of the plan, and yet there have been examples from masters on the planet that did know. Yes. And I remember being moved a lot by Autobiography of a Yogi.
You were going to say that.
Written by
yes, right.
Paramahansa Yogananda, who
classic.
Was, in my view, young when he passed, but he actually knew it was coming. Mm-hmm. That is when you're really in touch with the soul planning. So, I think that's basically
that's the best answer we have for a very difficult and heart-wrenching question. So now that I've answered it the way I'm glad we did. I'm glad we took at first I went, how can I answer this? Because we really don't have a good answer. We have time. I think we've got almost 3 minutes left. Okay. Can we do one more?
Well, let's do one more question. This was a similar question to what Lee answered during Healing Wednesday on March 3, 2021. That was an episode we did with Dr. Sue Morter, who was our guest. That question was about speaking to your cells and the verbal instructions to the cells of your body. Could you just do it once, or why do you have to do it all the time? And so Lee's answer was that it was about a relationship. This question, while it's similar, I think it is a little different, and I want to have Lee give clarification. It comes from Nina, who's from Ecuador. She's asking, does one need to speak affirmations aloud? I often find them running in my mind all day. Does this have the same effect? So, Lee, can you clarify that for us?
This is going to be simple.
Okay. I like simple.
It doesn't matter. And here's why. We are not in a closet. When it comes to spiritual things, you'll hear me say this over and over, question after question. I'm going to answer in a way you didn't expect. We are not in a closet. God is not on the other side of the room. It's this whole idea that we have to say it a certain way, or hold our head a certain way, or face north. Well, Nina didn't mean that. I said that. Is that we are known by God, and in this relationship we have, again, a relationship, however we want to start speaking to ourselves, we're speaking to that part of our soul. And it is understood, and it's just the fact that we're doing it at all. Kryon said there's a whole group of angels on the other side say, look, she's doing it, or look, he's actually doing it. It doesn't matter. You want to say it to yourself, you want to say it once, say it a lot when it comes to talk to yourselves. That's what that answer was about that Kryon talked about. I said, Monica, you're not crying. That Monica said Kryon talked about and I talked about. So it's repetition in this particular case is good because you have a relationship. I made that joke. I said, where the guy says to the wife, or the wife says, do you love me? And I said, yes. Don't you know I told you in 1983? So you talk to yourselves because it's a relationship. But it doesn't matter whether it's aloud or whether it's silent or whether you're just thinking about it, because you've got all of this help.
Yeah.
And I've always felt this, that people need to realize this, I think more and more, that we are sitting in a soup that includes all of the entities, or all of the angels, because we are elevating our consciousness to a place where that communication is possible.
One of the key points, though, Kryon made about why speaking aloud, the effect it has, it produces vibrations in the air that the cells of your body receive. So again, it's about what you are pulling to yourself through your consciousness, cognizing it. If you can really think it without having to feel it's a belief that you have to believe, you've cognized it. Probably speaking aloud doesn't even need to happen because it's your truth. You own it. But when you are, I guess, creating something new, or you're really putting it out there, everything picks it up. I mean, when we had Dr. Fabian Brotos, he talked about our teeth being crystals. And they are, when you put something out, the crystals of your teeth are receiving that information and it's being processed. So that's why it's a beautiful process to do if you can embrace speaking aloud, affirmations, and speaking it to yourself. Doesn't have to be all the time. Definitely you can do them in your mind. But just think about it creates a vibration, a frequency into the air, comes into you and becomes a part of your system. So I hope that those answers have helped all of us. And let's move into a meditation and the channel.
Good.
And I don't normally do this, but tomorrow is Earth Day. This is April 21. I know that in Australia it's already Earth Day, actually. So I want my meditation for all of us to connect in with Earth. And to that end, I've actually brought a smoky quartz crystal. I know many of you are crystal lovers, so I want to encourage you to grab your favourite crystal. It could even be a rock, doesn't have to be a crystal. Put it in your left hand, put your right hand on top. And I invite you to close your eyes and take a moment to feel the energy of the crystal or the rock that's in your hand. And if you don't have a crystal or a rock, take a moment to feel the energy beneath your feet. For wherever you are standing on Gaia. Even if you're in a building with concrete, underneath that is Gaia. And so allow yourself to feel the energy of Gaia. Many of you may even feel the messages from Gaia being sent to you in this moment. She is deeply honoured that we have created an Earth Day. And she asks us that every day is Earth Day. We are reminded of our ancestors who greeted the earth every morning as soon as they arose. They greeted the sun, and there was an alliance. They watched the sun set, and there was an alliance. They saw the seasons come and go, and they understood the reasons for the changes in day and night and temperature, and there was an alliance. And so the message from Gaia is one of gratitude and thanks for acknowledging her, and to invite you to rekindle this alliance that exists. And so we thank Gaia for sharing her precious moments with us in this meditation.